Hello there.
General Kenobi!
What other intro were you expecting? I mean, this is pretty much what you're gonna get for a show that's called Obi-Wan Kenobi. Greetings to all you remaining Jedi out there. I am Jedi Master Elijah Grande, and I'm here to give you my review of the latest Disney Plus Star Wars series on the Jedi Master himself, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh, and by the way, before I begin, this is going to be a spoiler review, so I will be going in detail with this series. Okay, maybe not with everything, but at least with the major events. So, if you have yet to see the series, then you have been warned. You should probably get out now. Okay, those who have seen the series are still here? Good. Let's talk about it. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi is set 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith, and 9 years before the events of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, as well as Rogue One, but then again, this is the case of the Skywalker films. But anyways, that's besides the point, where Obi-Wan is living on Tatooine after failing his former student, Anakin Skywalker, now Darth Vader, and he's been hiding, and he's in complete guilt of himself. Similarly to Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, but done much better. While that's going on, Inquisitors are arriving and they're searching Jedi. However, one certain Inquisitor named Reva is looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi the most, as he's really obsessed with hunting down and kill her. So what does he decide to do? Knowing that about Bail Organa the most, he decides to capture his daughter Leia, and Obi-Wan has to go out of hiding in order to rescue her, at least for one last fight. So yep, this is also the show which also has weight and meaning to why Leia also sent out the message in Episode 4. And yes, I'm referring to the same message that has "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." But I think you pretty much know that by now. So anyways, I think it's no surprise to say, as a huge Star Wars fan myself, I was hyped for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I mean, the fact that they were bringing back Ian McGregor as Obi-Wan, I was like, heck yeah, baby! I mean, say what you will about the Star Wars prequels, although, even if I'm not a fan of those movies, minus Revenge of the Sith, I was really ecstatic that he was coming back, because he was hands down the best actor in those films. Well, minus Samuel L. Jackson, Frank Oz, Christopher Lee, and Ian McDiarmid. Yeah. Anyways, and they were even bringing back Hayden Christensen to be in the suit as Darth Vader, as well as being in a couple scenes as Anakin Skywalker himself. So yeah, that was all exciting, and I was getting pretty excited, and I was loving the idea of it. It was pretty cool. I had no idea what it was going to be about, so I was like, what would they do with this series? So now that I've seen the series, what did I think of it? Well, I loved it. But there is one huge flaw with it. But we'll get to that part later. For now, let's talk about my pros with the series. And trust me, there is a lot. And like I said, I'm going to be going to some spoiler stuff in here. First off, I think let's pretty much talk about the obvious one. Ian McGregor once again nailed it as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, it was just fantastic. I mean, after years of hearing James Arnold Taylor's voice as Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars series, it's actually great to hear him again as Obi-Wan again. Although, unlike in the prequels where he's bringing out some meme-worthy lines like the hello there that you saw in the intro, he's actually in a more depressed state. He failed to prevent Anakin from turning to the dark side. He failed and he's living in depression. And especially in the first episode, you see him more like having a bit of a job and he's trying to stay away from him. Although he does want to train Luke so he can make sure that the same mistake doesn't happen twice. But unfortunately, it can't because, well, at first, Uncle Owen won't let him, which is just heartbreaking for him. Although, of course, we do know in episode 4 he does get trained, but still, it's great. As the series would go on, and with his bond with Leia, he would become more open-minded again as both a Jedi and as a person himself, and he would learn the ways of the Force, which would also lead to the original film. Oh, and for those who are wondering if he did had a moment where he's talking to Force Ghost Qui-Gon and Liam Neeson reprising his role, don't worry, he does. Although, just to let you know, that's actually the final scene of the entire series. And I just love his arc throughout the series. It just works very well for his character. Anyways, another character that I really liked was young Leia. At first, I was concerned if this young Leia was going to be a bit annoying, especially with her whole smart and intelligence, which makes her a little bit more made her a bit more annoying than charming. But thankfully, as the series went on, I became more attached to her, and she did become a lot more likable, especially in comparison to. We'll get to her real later. But I really did like her, and again, just the idea of having Obi-Wan having to rescue her again ties in to the original film. It works very well. And I also love the relationship that the two shared throughout the series. Like, although that she had to be rescued, like, a few times, you do really care about the two. Maybe not as much as Din Djarin and the child in The Mandalorian. Looking forward to its third season, by the way, as every Star Wars fan will be. But I am really just glad that they were able to nail this off very well, and it worked pretty good. But of course, between the prequels and the original trilogy, we of course have to talk about the franchise's most iconic villain, Darth Vader. Do I still need to say this guy's awesome? He's just amazing. Now, technically, he doesn't appear until the end of episode 2, but when this guy shows up, he's amazing. And thank goodness, because every time he's on screen, he's amazing. Although I did wish we got more of him in episodes 3 and 4, because, again, just like, whenever he's on screen, it's like, oh, thank goodness, because you're saving me from the dreadfulness that I'm witnessing at the moment. But thankfully, but he was just amazing. And surprisingly, James Earl Jones actually not only reprised his role, but he actually gave a performance that is actually on par with his performance in the original trilogy at age 91. Yeah, actually, just, and it's kind of funny when you compare it to how he did with Mufasa and The Lion King. Actually, here's a comparison between when he voiced Mufasa in the original film and in the 2019 remake.
Don't turn your back on me, Scar.
Oh no, Mufasa. Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me.
Is that a challenge?
Temper. I wouldn't dream of challenging you.
Don't turn your back on me, Scar.
Oh no, Mufasa. Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me.
Is that a challenge?
I wouldn't dream of challenging you again.
Now let's do the same thing with Darth Vader from a clip from the original trilogy and from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That is the system.
and I'm sure Skywalker is with them. Set your course for the Hoth system. General Veers, prepare your men.
The Grand Inquisitor means nothing. Kenobi is all that matters now. Is that understood?
I think it's safe to say that James Earl Jones put a lot more passion into this when he reprised his role as Darth Vader. However, the whole thing with Hayden Christensen coming back is not entirely a lie. Okay, yes, he is in the suit, but there are a couple scenes where we actually do get to see him actually speaking, where there's an entire flashback or like in briefs of flashbacks where we come back to a Jedi duel in episode 5, and in episode 6 we have a moment similarly to Star Wars Rebels where Obi-Wan cuts off a bit of Vader's mask, and we get to hear both Christensen and Jones talking at the same time, and it's really both tragic and haunting. Like, what a great way to end the lightsaber fight. Speaking of which, the lightsaber fights in Obi-Wan Kenobi were really great. Yes, they're not as great as the battle on Mustafar and Revenge of the Sith, but I find them to be better than the one in New Hope. Although watching it now can feel a lot more impactful for what we witnessed. The first fight in episode 3 was pretty good, but it was a little bit lacking. But the second fight in the series finale, that was impactful. Yeah, it was just so amazing, and I just love how it just works. Like him confronting it, and while giving like this entire band of people a chance to escape. Although I doubt it's the rebellion, or I think it's the rebellion, but the show doesn't really explain it. Oh well, but anyways, that's not what the show's about. Oh, sorry about that. But anyways, yeah. The second fight was really cool and really heart-wrenching. As for the story, it's actually well written in my opinion. Yeah. Yes, there are some plots that might not make sense, but anyways, the story actually works very well. And again, like the idea that the entire point of the show is actually like how to tie in more elements to the original film, including with Obi-Wan saving Leia, like works very well, and I really like it. And again, you get to see Obi-Wan become much better as a character as the series would go on. It works very well. Yeah, I just really love it, and it gives you just such an emotional feel when watching the series. The visual style of the show is also great. Like, where they have a mixture between practical effects and visual effects. It works and CGI effects. It works very well. As it's like they're interacting with real sets, but so that why like everything is not entirely CGI, which works very very nice in the movie's advantage. The music, while not as strong as John Williams' score in the original films, are still great. It's still great to listen to. Although I am surprised that in some moments that they don't use like some of the iconic themes for them. Although then again, I can understand why they didn't. I mean, Disney did kind of overutilize them a lot in the sequel trilogy, so obviously there's gonna be some changes. Although I was expecting at least one or two themes, 2 times to hear the Force theme and the Imperial March. Although we did get to hear the Imperial March at least once. Another character I forgot to mention that I also really liked was this Imperial officer who I won't go much in detail about, because I kind of forgot her name, who's actually not really an Imperial officer. She's more of a spy that actually helps. And unlike in the Rise of Skywalker with General Hux, it works very well simply because she's actually more against the Empire than supporting it. Which is why we don't really see her like joining up with them in the original trilogy, because he actually joins with them to help out. Well, at least in this series, not in the original trilogy. Yeah. Also, there's some nice callbacks to the original films and the and the prequels in here, and I thought it works very well. It's really nice just to see it, and it gives you that nice Star Wars feel to it. And the last thing I really liked about this series was the final scene. Was the final scene. I already did mention a bit about it, but I also love how like the first time he was able to meet Luke, and it was really nice and just it was just so good, and also does set up for what is to come. But now I have to address the big elephant in the room regarding the series. You can do this. You can do this. Let's talk about the shit herself, Reva. When I heard people complaining about Rey from the sequel trilogy, I didn't entirely get her hate. But Reva? Oh man! She is so... She is, without a doubt, the worst Star Wars character Disney has ever made. In fact, she's pretty much up there with Jar Jar Binks as worst Star Wars character ever. Just barely. Just barely. This character, the minute she shows up, okay, maybe not the minute she does shows up, but she just gets too irritating fast. I mean, here's her motivations throughout each episode. Find Kenobi, she fails. Find Kenobi, she fails. Find Kenobi, she fails. That's pretty much like a majority of the of 2/3 of the season, and it's just excruciating. It gets more painful, and you want it to be like, Jesus, we get it. You're obsessed with finding her. Just please stop before I force choke you. This is why I wish Darth Vader was the main villain of the series, because it would be much more impactful. More impactful if we didn't have Reva. In fact, if she was out of the series, this show would have been far much more better. But no, we need to have Reva to be in so many scenes. Oh, and it gets worse. In episode 5, we are given a big shocking twist that Reva is the one youngling that didn't die when Anakin Skywalker attacked the Jedi Temple. Are you more confused now? Yeah, because it makes zero fucking sense. I'm sorry for cursing right there, but seriously, how in the name of fuck was her entire friends and the remaining younglings were being killed by Anakin Skywalker and the clone troopers? It just doesn't make no sense. And what's even worse, her redemption is just pointless. I mean, although to be fair, I kind of knew she was going to be redeemed, but it was just stupid. It felt boring. Now, to be fair, Disney Plus series have a lackluster version with it, so I'm not going to make comparisons to them like with the whole one with Sylvie, although I didn't really mind that one. But instead, I'm going to compare it to another Disney TV character who had a redemption arc that worked very well. Sasha Waybright from Amphibia. In that series, Sasha starts off as a manipulative jerk to Anna and Marcy. She does everything she could in order to get what she wants. In season 1, she starts off as a prisoner to grind. But then once he fights the giant heron, she decides to join her ranks up until the point that she has to get him home. But then once he gets defeated by Anne, she decides to go on a revenge mission. But then by the second half of season 2, we start to see a conflicting side to her. And even though she does work with Grime to help take over Newtopia, she then gets a hurtful statement from Anne, which starts to realize that maybe she's making the wrong choice. Then, in the season 2 finale, we see the truth about Andreas, which ultimately leads her to fight alongside Anne, Marcy, and everyone else from the series. And then in season 3, we get our ultimate redemption that leads to Anne and Sasha finally making amends and freeing Marcy from the core, and finally embracing who she truly is now. That is a powerful redemption arc for an animated series and one for a Disney animated series. Not as great as Zuko's, but it is real close. Reva did not have that. Reva was just completely pointless, to the point that why was she even needed? Why was she even here? Why was she necessary? I don't even know. I don't know at all. They should have just killed her off. They should have just killed her off. Now, with that said, you think I pretty much hate the series. No. Just because I hated Reva, that is just one problem in comparison to the remaining of the series. Because overall, outside of that one character, I loved the show very much. It definitely brought back some of the best elements of Star Wars that I really missed in such a long time, and further proof of why Ian McGregor and Hayden Christensen did fantastic jobs in their roles as Obi-Wan and Anakin. If you're looking for a great Star Wars series to check out, then go see it. Hey, don't listen to what the naysayers are saying. This is actually a great series. Yes, you might get infuriated by Reva, but the rest was just really spot on that I just had such a great time watching it. I'm going to give Obi-Wan a 9 out of 10. It was a great show, but it would have been a lot better if Reva just never existed in the first place. Anyways, thank you for all so much for watching this review and spoiler review. Sorry if I went a little bit enraged at the end, but then again, I did unleash my anger on her. Although Palpatine would have found that quite amusing. But anyways, what did you guys think of the series? Did you absolutely love it and think it's one of the best Star Wars shows ever made? Or did you just find it uninteresting, dull, and just feel like it was just a disappointing way to bring back Ian McGregor as Obi-Wan? Anyways, and let me know in the comments of what is your favorite moment with Ian McGregor as Obi-Wan, rather if it's in the prequels or in this series. Anyways, please let me know in the comments. Like this video if you really enjoyed it, and if you want to stay in touch with more videos, then all you have to do is click that subscribe button down below. Anyways, and until the next video comes, may the Force be with you.